Ever get the feeling that your house is being invaded by a group of anthropomorphic robot fly people? No? Okay, just asking. This is the Mississippi King, though, who's welcoming y'all back to the finale of Let's Play Mega Man VI. And in this episode, we're going to beat Wily Castle and end Mega Man VI. This is the end of our journey on the NES. So, yep. Surprisingly, though, this is not the last 8-bit game, because there's Mega Man 9 and 10, but nevertheless, this isn't Mega Man 9 or 10. And welcome back, Mississippi Dukes. This stage can be a bit treacherous, so watch out, especially for the insta-kill spikes. They can be a bit of a problem. And you can also end up flying straight into them like I did. That is no good. Yeah, just don't try and fly into them, okay? Admittedly, these fans can be kind of difficult to predict. It's a bit annoying, but they're not the worst things that are difficult to predict. I mean, to be fair, the fan gimmick is better than anything you'll see in, well, a certain Mega Man X game. It's fairer. Okay, I shouldn't say that. It's not like everything in that particular game is unfair. It's just that it's not particularly well-designed, shall we say. But whatever, that's got nothing to do with this game. This part actually has some very interesting platforming, because you have to use the jet adapter in a way that you wouldn't have done in previous Mega Man games. Time paradox! But I want to show off an alternate route because, well, I missed this, so I went back to film this, and it's not a whole lot, but there is like an energy tank, and there are some weapon energy refills, like a bunch of stuff. But yeah, besides that, not a whole lot. And also some life energy, but it's useful to keep in mind if you're struggling, but I mean, I don't usually need that, so I usually don't take that route. Of course, I never need an energy tank. But yeah, back to the central route. This route is fairly short. The stage is actually fairly short, really. I mean, we should be coming near the end, I think. But still, this stage, no stages are as short as like ones in Mega Man 3. Because that game was just like full of very short Wily stages. Oh, sorry, Wily stages. But these stages are noticeably longer, but they're not like super long. Like, they tend to be longer than, well, shorter, I should say, than the ones found in Mega Man VII. And definitely shorter than the ones in Mega Man 8. Or maybe that last one's just because Mega Man 8 is a very slow-paced game. But we'll get to that when we get to that. I'll probably have to, like, do 5 or even 6 videos for Mega Man 8. Because, like, all of the things I'll need to cover and whatnot. But the boss of this place is called Mechazaurus, as the title card explained. But one thing you can actually do against Mechazaurus is knock its platforms back at it with the power adapter. I believe if you fully charge it, you can actually send the platforms back at it. I forget how much damage that does, but usually I prefer to, like, not do that and instead just ride the platforms up to its eyes, because I just find that more fun. That's all. And it can be kind of a tricky fight because I'm never quite sure where I'm shooting, because it has like a very narrow range with what counts as a hit and what doesn't. The hit detection seems a bit off. And that's a bit of an issue with fighting it, because the window frame for hitting it then can be kind of short. Or small, I mean, not short. What am I saying? But, yeah, it's not the easiest boss to face. Definitely there are easier bosses than that one. In fact, in this stage, what am I saying? In Wily Castle, there are harder bosses than that one, and that was the first. And particularly the next one, it's definitely easier than Mechazaurus. The one that's coming up is actually called the Tank CS2? Maybe it's the Tank csII. I don't know, I don't think they clarify that. I swear, the names for some of the for some of the castle bosses are just so random. Like, I get Mechazaurus, but the Tank CS2 or csII, I'm not sure. But that's weird. But then there are things like the CWU01P, like, how do they come up with this stuff? The castle stage boss names are just weird. But, nevertheless, there is something else I want to show. Time Paradox! The alternate route. And this is the final alternate route of the game, folks! Yeah, we're coming up near the end of the game itself, so this one's fairly short. It's pretty easy. There are these things that, like, you shoot them and they charge at you. But I can just take them out, no problem. They're not an issue. And they go down easily. But back to this route, to the route I was taking, you can actually refill on some energy right there. And that can be useful, but nevertheless, we're coming up near the end of the game, folks. In this very part, our journey through the NES Mega Man games will be complete. And your journey to the dark side will be complete. Admittedly, I'm not the best at quoting the Emperor, but I mean, I do still enjoy him. He's quite the on-screen presence. But the boss for this stage is ridiculously easy. All you need to do is just jump and use the windstorm. You can end up using it on some of the bubbles, but it's nothing to worry about. If I'm not mistaken, the next stage contains the boss rush. Yep, so you know what that means. A speed montage is coming up, folks. But there is a short stage before we get to the boss rush. So, I want to show that off. And this stage is not that perilous, but if you're not careful, it can be a bit of an issue to get through. and there are some fishes, but it's not really a serious hazard. It's pretty short before the boss rush, just not as short as the space before the boss rush was in, like, Mega Man V, because that was just ridiculously short. It's more comparable to, like, Mega Man IV, but yeah, we're coming up on the boss rush, and this makes the final speed montage. Well, at least the final musical speed montage of the NES series. So, yep. Are you getting emotional? I'm not, because there's still several other Mega Man games to cover. But we're getting to the end. We're actually at the tail end of the series. And just like before, I'm actually going to do what I did in Mega Man 4 and 5, where I put a title card that tells you what song is being played and who created it. So stay tuned for that. Those fan enemies, by the way, can push or pull you depending on which direction they're facing. The speed montage, well actually the boss rush, is up here. You just climb that ladder, and you'll find the teleporter that leads straight to the boss rush. So see you when we beat him. Hit it! Just like in Mega Man 3, there's actually no boss for this stage, no Wily boss or anything like that. It's just a straight leap to the end. And as for Wily himself, all I have to say to him is, well, I've fucked in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries. But in all seriousness, this is it. We're gonna stop Wily for the final time. Well, okay, maybe that's not seriousness, but still. We are totally going to stop him for realsies this time. And we'll never have to deal with that scientist again. Ever! Okay, people? Yep, not once. We are not going to be seeing him again. We're actually going to deal with him. And actually, this final boss is ridiculously easy. I don't know if I'd say it's the easiest in the series, because, like, the first game had a very easy final boss, but it's not glitching you out of existence, that is. That happened to me on screen. I mean, I had to leave that in. But yeah, this fight is still pretty easy. I beat it my the first time I was playing this game, like, I managed to beat this fight without using any energy tanks. I don't know if I beat him, like, the very first time I fought him, but yeah, that's all we get is just the Wily Machine 6 and the Wily Capsule. All three forms, by the way, are weak to the Silver Tomahawk, but now Wily's defeated and he's gonna get away, isn't he? What? You brought a rope this time? That's brilliant! Finally!
Triumphant at last, Mega Man arrested the notorious Dr. Wily and brought him to justice. Sentenced to prison for his crimes, Dr. Wily now rules over a prison cell. At long last, the world is at peace.
And that was Mega Man 6. So, next up is Mega Man VII, and I'll bet people are excited for that. I myself am, because I've already got a few jokes planned for that. Because, as great of a game as it is, there are some funny things about it. Well, specifically, it's typos, but trust me, it's not the worst example of typos the series has ever seen. There are worse. Much worse, in fact. I mean, I think everyone knows which game I'm talking about, but if not, well, I'll leave that for when I actually cover it. And, yeah, this credit sequence is interesting. It's a montage of all of the robot masters we fought. Although, admittedly, this credits theme is not one of my favorites. I personally prefer the ones from Mega Man 4, well, specifically the one that's a remix of the Mega Man 2 credits theme. And I also prefer I think the Mega Man 5 one was pretty good, although it's been a little while since I've heard it. But that's it, folks. We have completed our journey across the NES Mega Man hexology. It's the word, right? Hexology? Seriously, 6 games on one console? That is nuts. Like, if you told people, like, there was a time when this series kept pumping out new games each year, and it's like, it's hard to believe that, like, the market was, like, saturated with Mega Man games at one point, and now it's like, the series is ending its 8-year hiatus with Mega Man 11. Of course, I'm very excited for Mega Man 11, but that's neither here nor there. It's like, that was like a long hiatus. So the last game released was Mega Man 10, back in 2010. My goodness, has it really been 8 years? 8 years? Man, that is just unbelievable. What I tell you, time sure does fly. But, yeah, with that out of the way, we get to, like, the credits sequence, and of course, like, as always, there are some weird people with some weird names who work on it, and whatnot. But no Bamboo, and no Fishman this time. So sad. But we still have Tom Pond, and there is Bambi. I don't know what that's about, but there is a Bambi. Which is not spelled like the elephant, by the way. It's a 2 E's, not an I. There's also a Bandy, and a Hyper Mickey. I don't know what a Hyper Mickey is, but it's still there! But, yeah, I mean, that's all. Dr. Wily is now, finally,
To be continued.
looking for an excuse to break out of jail! Okay, it's more like prison, but still! My goodness, we captured him! And he's gotta break out of jail somehow. Actually, maybe the To Be Continued is referencing the Mega Man X series, but I really don't know. But that's not all for this episode. Because you see, there's still one thing that everyone has been waiting for, and it has become a recurring theme, a recurring segment in the finales of Mega Man games. Box art time! And first up is the American box art, and oh my goodness, it actually looks pretty cool this time. This is incredible. I mean, like, it has all of the several robot masters, and it just looks pretty awesome. But let me guess, the Japanese box art is gonna be better. Of course it is. It's always... Oh, come on! It's not better this time! Seriously? The Japanese box art isn't cooler? I mean, to be fair, I mean, like, the Japanese box art is still pretty cool, but, like, this is nothing compared to the American box art. For once the US gets the cooler box art, what is up with that? Well, that's all for this episode, and that is all for this LP. We are done with Mega Man VI completely. So see y'all when we tackle Mega Man VII. This is the Mississippi King signing out. And we are done with Mega Man VI.